Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Ng. Joyce, we have a lot of little things to talk about, I guess, this week. Not as many big ticket things.
Well, things are going on. New York
Dude,
Film Festival is still going on.
still going on. Is this the longest film festival on Earth?
Maybe it's a whole fortnight, so it's a whole Grand Slam. I could have watched a whole Grand Slam this time.
Because the P&I screenings, press and industry, for those not in the know, started felt like early September.
Oh yeah, it starts like the
Oh,
week before.
oh my God. So New York Film Festival is still going on. We both sadly missed Priscilla, which was last week, a centerpiece screening, I believe. It closes Friday. We're recording this on Wednesday with Ferrari, Michael Mann's new movie. I read a nice interview with Michael Mann this week, Joyce. I know you did too, because we talked about how it had some Tokyo Vice goths in there.
Yeah, I'm more excited for season 2 of Tokyo Vice than Ferrari. No shade.
And Heat 2, where he's going to have Adam Driver playing Macaulay, which is great, the De Niro role. Anyway, I'm excited to
Yeah,
see
that's
Ferrari.
all the aggravation.
Love it. I love the aggregating. Love Michael Mann just hitting those points on the interviews. We got a lot of interviews and stuff. So we'll do some news first. And we have a lot of real emails. You have done such a great job. Real people emailing us. I love it so much. We also got an email from Henry, our fan. I'll read that one later, Joyce.
We love a follow-up.
I love it, love it. And you can email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Keep them coming. This is great. It's so heartening to see these emails come in. And some of them are nice. Anyway, so we had the news this week was Color Purple trailer, Joyce. But we could start with that one. Another trailer.
The second one, yes.
Looks like a movie.
It looks exactly what I expected. And I think this trailer might have been the one that a lot of people were expecting the first one to be. Yes. But this one was also very focused on Taraji P. Henson.
Big Taraji, she gets the song in the trailer. Mm-hmm. And big Danielle Brooks energy, though she has been very big in the other trailers too. But I felt like those and less Fantasia. That was my takeaway.
There has not been a lot of Fantasia. And I feel like if they're going to do a third trailer, which I mean, sure, like the movie's still 2 months out, Christmas. I feel like that one might be more Fantasia focused. I feel like the marketing for this is for mass appeal, right? They're going to sell it as like an energetic musical, which it has Taraji has, the high energy songs, and like Fantasia's arc is more solemn. So I feel like they're not going to focus on that yet when they just want to kind of market this as like a general public push.
It definitely feels like a movie that I think could do really well at the box office. It seems like it's got big hit potential, even though it's a musical.
I mean, it's a Pulitzer Prize winner, huge film,
great cast,
and a huge musical. So,
and we've talked about this previously. We went through like our SAG and Golden Globe. I mean, it is like on paper the most obvious like cast SAG ensemble winner I think in a long time. Like straight up winner. Big audience, crowd pleasing movie with like a cast of a lot of people that people like and other things and are now doing this together. And yet I still don't know if I have not really heard a lot about any screenings yet or anything. Do you think it's not too late? But I'm like, they got to start like.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter for us. Like when we see it, like for SAG, they need to get the screeners out.
But they haven't, right? I mean, I haven't heard that they have. Have you?
No. Well, I don't think most people have anyway, unless you're like a movie from the spring, like then. But like none of these like fall movies, I don't think they've done any of that.
It's not.
They'll probably they'll all start doing it in November. I think like they would have to do that for The Color Purple because it's such a late release, and SAG loves early shit. Like you have to be early of SAG in film and TV.
Exactly. And I'm like, I really think it's just sitting right there. I think all these like it has like legit.
Yeah, I actually don't have it in ensemble yet because I'm like, is it gonna be too late? Like we saw what happened with West Side Story. It just got Ariana DeBose in when it should have been an easy ensemble nominee.
And when you think about like it doesn't matter, but it does matter because like the perception is that it's a winner. You know what I mean? Or like a contender. I think Color Purple, we still have, everybody has it. Not everybody, but like we have it in for Best Picture still, like Sight Unseen, have Danielle Brooks in, maybe it gets in some other places. Taraji obviously is a popular pick, Fantasia as well. But I'm like, if they got enough screeners, if it gets to SAG, it could get in like ensemble and like maybe four other nominations at SAG, right? Like it really could. And then all of a sudden it starts snowballing and gains momentum, and it's like the movie, right? And if it just a matter of like getting it seen is really like I think a big thing for it to SAG. So based on the trailer, I feel like
I
it's gonna
think
be a
once
huge
they
thing.
do start screening, not just for press but also industry, like SAG screenings, I think will be for the nom-com.
Yes, that's what
Like I think it'll be, like a high priority like request, even like people are anticipating it, so that's good. But like in terms of screeners, like they do have to get, because West Side Story were very late with
Yeah.
theirs. So
it happens a lot. We've seen it like with a lot of like Wolf of Wall Street was too late, right? Remember?
yeah, like I dropped Little Woman because they were late too. So
and that impacts the rest of the season, because we know the perception is sometimes a great thing, right? The perception of it being a top choice is sometimes as good as being a top choice.
yeah, and then with SAG, it's like not everyone can be Regina King if you're snubbed there.
Yeah.
Well, so this one was very focused on Taraji, and you did not have Taraji.
And I still don't have Taraji.
So you were not reactive to this trailer.
No, it's just a trailer. I mean, like I know she like nothing has changed to me based on
I do feel like a lot of the reaction was, oh, they're pushing Taraji hard, like she's their priority. I'm like, I don't really think so. I think like there's still like, Danielle Brooks in the trailer too. But I do think like she is like the most well-known person in here outside of Fantasia, but they're like hiding Fantasia.
I kind of felt like I mean, obviously you're right. Like it was like a Taraji forward trailer because she's got the song and like is more actively involved. But I did think like the Danielle Brooks stuff is like stand up, like show stopping stuff. The clips that they show of her, I still have her in. I mean, I have an update. I still have her in second, but I think of all the best supporting actress contenders, and I think we talked about this maybe in our column this last week. Was that this last week? I don't remember days anymore. I think it was. Yes. I could easily see Danielle Brooks like being like the Ariana DeBose of this year and like kind of steamrolling through. It's a softer category without Lily Gladstone. I have Emily Blunt winning. I know a lot of people have Devon Joy Randolph winning, but I think Danielle Brooks with that role in that movie, and I just could see all of it coming together and her like pushing through. So I was like, I didn't put Taraji in yet, and maybe I will after I see it or after people see it and people start talking about it. But I'm like, Danielle Brooks, I was like heartened, or like I felt buttressed her position as in the trailer, basically.
I mean, I have both of them in. I think like one of my concerns, or whatever you want to call it, with both of them, or one of them are emerging as a frontrunner, is that I think that consensus would have to build really early on, with pairs.
Right.
It didn't really happen last year with like Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Hsu, but but it's usually like you could tell right away like who's the favorite between a co-star duo. And I think usually with musicals, in this category specifically, like we've just always had like the standout, like we knew they were winning, like Anne Hathaway,
right,
and Ariana and J Hud, even. So, and like they have like the signature song and like the big moment and everything. And so I don't know like how that's going to impact a musical with two supporting actress contenders that have these roles have received awards recognition before,
right,
at the Oscars and at the Tonys, and yeah, I don't know. Like I think I can see both of them winning, but I don't have either of them winning right now. And then I still have Fantasia out only because I dropped her, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, because that's the only one I haven't seen. So
I mean, like with regard to Fantasia, like you said, I mean, it's hard to, I don't like, you don't want to put any weight into it because we haven't seen it, but I'm just like, there's so many, that category is so crowded that I think for her to get in, it would be like all of these performances I feel like are all-time perform. I don't know. I just think it would be like she'd have to be incredible in it, like undeniable to make it in, which she could be because we haven't seen it. But I'm just like,
yeah,
it's a
and
really
it's not like
crowded category.
It's not like just me not having seen it. It's like it's underseen, right? Like I know of people who have seen the film because they have shown it to some people. Yes. And I've heard, through the grapevine that it's good, and like everyone is great in it.
Right.
But like that's like I think I need like wider reactions to it before I put her back in.
I think that's totally fair. We also had some interviews this week, Joyce. We had Carey Mulligan on the cover of, was it Vogue, Italian Vogue, was it? Or what was
Vogue, a great cover story and photo shoot, all about the hidden music in her life. Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did it say about the movie, Joyce? Maestro.
Well, you know, they're still insisting on not calling it a biopic. That was one of her quotes.
It's not a biopic.
It's not a biopic.
Right.
It's a story about a marriage.
Right.
Which it is, yeah. But it's a biopic of both of them, I guess. So
sure.
Yeah. I guess they're just taking umbrage with calling it a Leonard Bernstein biopic because they want to you know, front Felicia as well.
Right.
And she talked about how when she joined the movie, Bradley wanted her to do a dream workshop with him to get into character. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna go all in and do this with you. So she did. Yeah.
She's great in the movie. We talked about it a lot last week, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again. She is great in the movie. I guess I'm like, who cares what it's called? I guess biopic has become such a pejorative, I guess, in some circles, that's probably why they're avoiding it.
I mean, is it a pejorative? Like, that's just a genre.
I think it has become a pejorative because I think when you say biopic, you think like Bohemian Rhapsody.
But that's just one.
I'm just using that as an example, but we've seen like a lot of movies that are like, a biopic is just like not the.
I guess like people view them as like boring in a way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think every genre can be boring. I think it's up to the people involved to make them interesting.
Like Lincoln is a biopic.
I love Lincoln.
Lincoln's a great movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's you know, there are a lot of movies that are biopics that are
great.
great.
And like, again, like as we said, that was one of like the earlier films of like the past decade or so that instead of focusing on this person's entire lifespan, they focus on a specific period.
Tony Kushner, the God.
Mm-hmm.
Also Scorsese doing a lot of rounds. He was doing international press.
That man is just going viral every 4 days. So.
He's doing so much press. God bless
him.
Like
he's the only one who can promote it right now.
He is. But I also think like even if he wasn't the only one, like, you know, Leo's not doing sitting down.
No, Leo wouldn't do that much press. You know, they got him to do that British Vogue cover with Lily.
It would,
so he wouldn't do like that. That was like surprising to me. But I'm like, they're, you know.
So Leo wouldn't do a lot of press. De Niro wouldn't do a lot of press.
No.
And then
De Niro wouldn't even do that EPK for those character videos. Did you watch those three? Yes. They did videos for him, yes. Leo and Lily. Yeah.
So I'm like, it would still be Scorsese. I think he's one of like the few directors that you could name, along with like Spike, Christopher Nolan, Greta Gerwig, who would be like name brand enough to be on like the magazine features. You know what I mean? Like that people have.
Did we talk about his GQ cover?
We didn't talk about it when it came out, but that was a great interview. A lot of them now are just sad. You know, a lot of them are like him facing his own mortality.
Yeah, a lot of death talk.
And which is like, you know, it happens. I mean, the man's 80 years old. And so I think, and that
it happens.
And I definitely think with Flower Moon, I think a lot of the movie, and the reason I like it is actually a lot of it is like, I think in conversation with him, thinking about legacy and time and how people just kind of move on and not really paying attention. Nothing like lasts, and even atrocities don't last, and people forget, and life moves on, and it never stops.
Yeah, and then like history can forget too if like the right people are not talking about it.
Right. And history, and good and bad history, I think is a big thing with his life, right? It's just like nothing is really permanent. And so how do you like live in a world like that? Anyway, there have been really good interviews. We were talking about this before we started recording. He did have one, God forbid I take umbrage with the God, Martin Scorsese, but he did have one about the length of the movie, which I think we were talking about.
Yeah, this one got a lot of pickup, really, really dwarfed the TikTok coverage. Yeah. You know, the Francesca's TikTok. Francesca also doing a lot for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Love the TikTok stuff. Love Francesca, a great actress and filmmaker.
Yeah, right. Put that in the Criterion Collection. That TikTok.
And Marty and those are great. I love how much he loves her. I think it's sweet. And then here's the length of the movie. The movie is 3 hours and 26 minutes. I think it's 206 minutes. Not his longest movie. Irishman was 209. He's made a lot of 3-hour movies. Wolf of Wall Street was 3 hours. Silence is, I think, 240 maybe. Irishman is 209 and this is 206. So these are long movies, Joyce. I don't know if you know math. I just realized this.
I think I can math better than you.
Yeah, I just realized this. 206 minutes is a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
So Marty was asked about this, and he said people say it's 3 hours. Actually, just a note, it's 3 hours and 26 minutes, I think. But people say it's 3 hours. But come on, you can sit in front of the TV and watch something for 5 hours. Scorsese said this during a roundtable, I believe, with international journalists. Also, there are many people who watch theater for 3.5 hours. There are real actors on stage. You can't get up and walk around. You give it that respect. Give cinema that some respect. I'm all for that. I don't think we should be like walking around. And I believe in if you're going to go to the movies and it's 3.5 hours, sit there for 3.5 hours and watch the movie. I think we both took the difference between watching it at home on TV is, and you're watching a TV show for 5 hours, if that's what you're doing. They're TV show, they're episodes. So there's an ebb and flow and it ends, there's a beginning and an end, and you kind of move on. A movie is not like that.
Yeah, this defense, a lot of filmmakers and movie stars go to when they try to clap back at criticism of long run times. And I'm just like, this is a false equivalence because, like you said, movies and TV are completely different things. A movie is close-ended. Like, it's going to last a couple of hours. You can devote a couple hours of your day to it. You make a trek to the theater to do it. There's a beginning, middle, and end. And when it's over, you leave and you go home. A TV show will end eventually. I'm like, unless it's a limited series, like how many episodes there are in it. But a regular TV series, it could go on for fucking years. Like NCIS is still on 20 years. It's going to be 21st season. And yeah, like you said, like it's an ebb and flow and it's episodic. The beginning and middle and end is within an episode. The episode can be 30 minutes. It can be an hour. And now with streaming, they're just pushing it, like there's like 75-minute episodes, 90-minute episodes, 40-minute episodes, if you see Ted Lasso. But like still within that episode is a beginning, middle, and end. And then you, the person, the viewer, can choose to stop watching it if it's bingeable. So I can stop watching, Ted Lasso after one episode, or that's weekly. But if it's like, I don't know, whatever's on Netflix, it's like I can stop watching Squid Game after one episode, or I can continue if I have time. If I'm just like, I gotta watch the next episode, and I'll watch the next episodes. And maybe, sometimes I might sit there for 5 hours and watch that. But they're completely different mediums and different storytelling. And then in TV, because there's so many episodes and the storytelling, it ebbs and flows. Some episodes might not focus on your favorite character, or they'll spotlight a different character, supporting character, or they'll have a bottle episode, right? And you might not be as focused on certain episodes, and that's okay too. That's okay. Like we have filler episodes in TV. That's fine. But in film, it's like it's demanding your attention for that amount of time in the theater. And yes, 3.5 hours is a long time. And I think, his comparison to theater is not the same either, because theater has intermissions. Right. And there's been people also saying like, bring back intermissions in cinemas, which I don't think we need either. Like I know, I don't like long movies, but I sat through Killers of Flower Moon. I didn't go to the bathroom.
No, I think the difference is too, is like exactly what you're saying too. I think I'm fine. I'm fine. And if this is what Martin Scorsese, I'm not going to say if Martin Scorsese thinks he needed 3.5 hours to tell Killers of Flower Moon.
If this is the movie you're making, I will see it and I will sit through it.
I'll absolutely accept that he thought it needed to be 3.5 hours. I'm not Martin Scorsese. And if James Cameron is another person who's done this recently too, talked about the length and like compared it to TV. If James Cameron thinks we need 3 hours and 20 minutes on Avatar, hell yeah. Like,
listen, I loved The Way of Water.
Way of Whales.
It was a great time.
It was awesome. So these guys are kings, and like if they think they needed to make the movies long, that's fine. My quibble would be like, it's not like TV because And especially in the theater, I think going to the movie theater, like you said, if I go to a movie theater, I'm going to sit through it and pay attention. Hopefully I'm riveted. At this point now, if I don't like something, I'm going to fall asleep. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Oh,
I've fallen
I do
asleep.
that too. Yeah.
Right. But I'm like, if it's great or even good, I'm going to be very engaged.
I did not fall asleep during Killers of the Flower Moon.
Not once. I've seen it twice. Didn't fall asleep either time. It's very watchable and engaging. So this is not a critique on the movie at all. But I'm just saying, like, I think TV is way less engaging and you're not paying attention. And when you're watching this stuff at home, like Flower Moon, I'm like, people are going to be not as engaged just by nature.
Well, no, I don't think it's like less engaging. I think in the theater, you're forced to be engaged, right? Because they made that effort. And I think like TV is engaging to me. Like Succession engages me.
Yeah.
You know, like it's certain shows, and like other shows, they're just laundry shows. Like I could just put them on the background, you know, and that's fine.
I got a lot of laundry shows then.
And like nowadays, there's a lot of laundry shows, but like great TV engages you. And I could watch a whole episode of TV and not be on my phone.
Right.
But like that's the other thing, because it's like TV, you do get to watch at home. You don't have to make the effort to go out and spend money we pay for streaming services, but you know what I mean? It's like, and like we could be in our pajamas. We don't have to dress up. We can pause and go pee and like grab food, and
it's a different experience.
Yeah. So I just think like that, like people need to stop making that comparison, and just like it's also insulting to TV, because TV is a great medium, and like they're just not comparable.
No.
When you're bringing runtime into it like that.
He also talked about Barbenheimer. Did you see those quotes, Marty?
And he hasn't seen them yet.
I love that he hasn't seen him. I don't even know if he has, but I love that he was like I'm very excited. I'm very happy for this. I love this. And I love that he called it Chris Nolan. That was fun. Loves Chris Nolan's work. The other thing, we didn't even talk about this. A couple of people really caped for Marty, speaking of Scorsese, was Francis Ford Coppola, who Instagrammed and was like, my great friend Martin Scorsese made a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And the god Spike Lee coming to bat for Marty with the great quotes about both Marty and then Lily Gladstone, which made me laugh. Hang on, let me find those. He was like,
and then he had an issue with Oppenheimer ending, or not, but just like what they didn't show, which I do not agree with.
I don't agree with either, and it was taken out of context, because I don't think he had an issue with the movie. He was like, the movie's awesome.
No, I think it's more that, yes, like when it was picked up, it was taken out of context because it didn't use the full quote. But I think he's also coming at a point because he's saying they should have shown the bombings.
Or he wanted to see the aftermath of the bombings.
Yes, and I'm like that. This is the type of stuff that he does in his movies. Like at the end of his films, he includes like real life footage. Mm-hmm. So I understand from his perspective. Yeah, like that's what he would have done. Yeah, but I'm also just like, that's not what the movie is. No,
and he said that in the thing. He was like, I'm sure Christopher Nolan would tell me things I didn't do the right thing in Malcolm X that he would have done differently. That was his comparison.
Yeah, but I also think like I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be Christopher Nolan, but I'm like, I think he knows, like, Malcolm X is a completely different movie than Oppenheimer. Like those, like what Spike is asking for does not work. No, they're different filmmakers. I think the only reason it got picked up out of context is because people have been seemed like he was dragging him. Yeah, and people want to drag him over that aspect. And then it also reignited pushback on that. The controversy, the non-controversy from the summer when people were like, why didn't he show the bombings? Yeah, that's exactly right. So like anything to like get their point back in the news would be like picked up, even if it's in bad faith, because Spike Lee was like, the movie's awesome. But his stuff about Killers was great. Scorsese, that's my guy. Killers of the Flower Moon is a great film. That Native American woman, Lily Gladstone, she's winning an Oscar. And I don't think that's a supporting role. I think that's a leading role. She's got my vote. That's Spike. That Native American woman took me out when I read it. Just the greatest. He's so. I can hear him saying it. Me too. He's the best. I was just like, best. I know it's like well intentioned, but like if like anyone else said it, no, just destroyed. But Spike can say it. Anyway, so that we've now had in the Nolan camp is like Denis Villeneuve, PTA. Like raving about Oppenheimer, and here for Scorsese of Coppola, Spike Lee. So I don't know if we're. Are you like keeping track of the teams? I'm just trying to see. Like I think we most people have got those two as the best director winner, regardless. Well, I mean, picture. Todd Field did a Q&A with Greta last week or 2 weeks ago now, and then she was in London. She's been everywhere with Alfonso Cuarón. And Jesse Armstrong did a Q&A with her. Yeah, he was a surprise moderator. at London. So
I'm just not keeping score, but I'm just like trying to, with the director's branch, that like that's how it works, right? So I'm like,
but I
there's a
think with
world.
these people, it doesn't matter. It's like,
Well, Edgar Wright did a thing with Scorsese. I was just like, I could see like directors obviously are really
I just feel like
fond
they
of
all
Scorsese.
stand all of them.
They do all stand all
You
of them,
know,
and it doesn't mean that they're going to pick them to win. But I'm like, Scorsese still has his like,
yeah,
if it
he
is
has
a
like I think like he would be listed among all of, he'll be included on all of their lists of, their idols. And
it doesn't mean like we've seen this like Spielberg didn't win, right? Like for Fablemans, right? And it was not a last hurrah, but it felt like a culmination. Not that this is Scorsese's last hurrah, and not that they think this way, but I'm like, there is a world where he does win for this, especially if it continues to get so well received, even if it doesn't win Best Picture.
yeah, but I feel like we say this every time he's in contention. Like we had the same conversation about The Irishman.
We did. We did. It's true.
And Bong Joon-ho paid tribute to him in his speech, so.
Yeah. So they all love him, but maybe not enough to have him win. And he's kind of said that too. He's not really part of the club. He said that even in the GQ article.
Oh yeah, I mean we've known this forever when, from all his Oscar losses early on. So
Jokes, we have so many emails. I think we're going to devote the rest of this to emails because, man alive, we got some good ones. Let me see. I'm going to start with actually Uri's. Back again. Hope you're well. It's Uri again. I have a couple of questions for you. And it's actually 3. So couple is 2, but sure. Why do so many people have started to dismiss Anatomy of a Fall for Best Picture just because France didn't choose it as their representative, which I like because chaos is a good thing. To me, it's a lot in English and its genre doesn't need the international nom. That's not really a question, but I agree with all of that. What do you think?
yeah, same.
We have it in for Best Picture.
Yeah, so. I have it in. I have Sandra Muller in Best Actress. It screened at New York this week, so good reception. They did a Q&A because they can promote it. So
I saw some people on like in the deep film Twitter being like surprised it won Cannes because it's so basic, basically. But I'm like, that's why actually it's like
that's just like film
picture.
snobs, because like as I've said before, I think it feels like an HBO limited series, which is a very high compliment.
It is very, and it's very watchable. And like the thing is like this, like Uri said here, it's probably like 49% English.
I think it was calculated, so I think it's like 51% French or something.
It's something like that because there's also like a little German in there too. So it's
there's a little German. It's probably like 0.2% German or something.
But it's like a lot of English. It's mostly
it's very English.
And I think if you showed that to somebody, it wouldn't even register as an international film or a foreign language film because it's so much in English that you would just be like, I'm just watching, like West Side Story. It's not comparable to that, but I'm like, when you watch West Side Story, that's an English language film, and then they're also speaking, Spanish and stuff, right? That's not subtitled or whatever it is. This, I felt like the same thing. I was like, oh, like this is just like, it's not a leap to think that this will do really well with voters because it is, like you said, like a prestige HBO show and very watchable. And there's not even like the barrier of subtitles for some people that still exists.
There's a moment in the film when she's testifying and then she asks if she could switch from French to English.
Great.
Because she had to learn French like for her husband, because
because she's German, right? In the movie, I think, right? Yeah.
So yeah, but it's a lot of it is in English, and yeah, I think it just has kind of gotten lost in the shuffle with all these other festival premieres because it's already been seen at Cannes, and then I do think people view Zone of Interest as the more highbrow pick.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it's getting in anywhere because it is more.
Take it out of everything.
I don't have it in anywhere. Zone of Interest. I think Anatomy of Fall all the way. I feel like it could get like 4 or 5 nominations.
I mean, I think Zone can still get in places. Like it could be a lone director nominee.
Yeah, I think that would be the one place I could see it actually getting in as director.
It would be a good sound nominee too. I don't know.
Maybe
if that'll happen. I think I'm not sure. But yeah, I think it's just kind of been forgotten a little bit.
I don't think that's bad though. And I
I don't think it's bad. But
and I think people even underestimating at this point is probably good. Anybody I know who's seen it like thinks it's great, very watchable. It just feels like an easy movie to see, like generating a lot of interest and then getting in. I mean, if Triangle of
and like
Sadness
it's also a movie that you want to talk about afterwards.
Very much a discussion movie. I also don't, even though I think there's probably polarization around her character, because I could see like a lot of men being like, fuck her, basically. I don't think it's like a polarizing movie.
No, because I mean, I don't know. I can't really get into details.
I don't think it's a polarizing, like I was thinking like compared to like Triangle of Sadness. Like Triangle of Sadness is like a polarizing movie. People did not like it. And it still got in.
No, because this is also like a legal case. It's not really a mystery, but it does it's about like biases.
Yeah.
And there are no like I don't think there are like easy answers in the film.
No, which makes it great.
Yeah.
Uri's next question. Who do you think the impending end of the actors' strike will help the most? I think Annette Bening security in the race would increase because all of her work for actors during the strike will help her veteran overdue narrative and can overcome the criticisms of the movie and her performance. So the actors are still on strike as of this recording on Wednesday, but they are not funny and not a lot of like chipping at each other in the press, just like nice joint statement.
Well, the thing is, it's like they didn't meet until they didn't since the strike started. Like their first meeting was last Monday. Yeah. Like they never met, unlike the writer's strike that did meet in August. So then after the writers struck their deal, that's when SAG started meeting. Yeah. So they've been meeting every other day.
So maybe it'll end probably. I mean, most people expect it to end soon enough. If not this week, maybe next week. It doesn't seem like there's not a lot with the writers. There was always like "fuck you," "no fuck you," and that just went on for months
because they hate the writers,
and the writers hate them, and the actors and the studios are not that antagonistic.
Well, it's also like now, like the writers' deal is in place. It's been ratified. Only 90 people dissented.
Right. I couldn't figure out based on that. I always find those tricky. Who was eligible? Not everybody voted though, but I don't know if that means they weren't eligible or they just decided not to vote.
No, like some people just don't vote, but like I think it was like of the people who voted.
Of the people voted, only 90 said no.
Yeah, only maybe Stephen Amell. I don't know. But like like the actors are asking for like almost the same thing as SAG is, like AI restrictions and everything and residuals. So a lot of the same things. So like those are already in place. So if it's just like dotting the T's or dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and then like a numbers game with like percentages.
Yeah. So, I mean, who knows? But we'll see the actors will say. So back to the question. Do you think who will this help when they can start campaigning?
I think it would help like the non-big names.
Okay. So like who would you put in that like league?
Like Kaylee Spaney, like even like Lily Gladstone. Like I think they're like once the strike ends, I think like Apple's just like raring to go with Lily. She's not like a complete unknown because like she's
right.
Yeah,
she's not a breakthrough nominee, Joyce.
She's definitely not a breakthrough nominee. She was a breakthrough nominee for Certain Women at the Gotham Awards like 6 years ago.
Well, I mean, Kaylee Spaney has been doing press, so because she can.
Yeah, she can, but I think it'll just be more.
I guess, but I mean, she's done. I think she's done a lot. I know they did like a junket or whatever with her.
Yeah, so. Like because they were at New York, so like they can do that. I do feel like all these projects that have interim agreements, like they don't want to go too hard.
No, it seems I get the sense too that they're going hard, but not too hard. That's what I
feel. Yeah. Yeah. So just like anyone who's like under, like not known, like I don't think it matters for the big people. Like Annette. Like sure, but I think like his point about her heading the entertainment fund or whatever it's called, like I think they would remember that anyway if the strike does not end, because I think like if the strike continues, like they'll remember like she's been backing us this entire time.
I think for like some of these people, it's not about remember, but like I'm like Coleman Domingo, I think is a person who in a room would be like great. People like him, want to talk to him, and like he's a kind of person I think who would be helped by being able to just
I think it would help anyone who would be a first time nominee.
Right. So I think he would be helped. I think Jeffrey Wright would be helped. I think like Devon Joy Randolph would be helped. America Ferrara, Lily Gladstone for sure. Any of these people who are like first time nominees would be probably helped. I think you're right about Annette Bening. That seems like something, even if it doesn't end soon enough, people would still like want to like support her, right? Because of that.
Yeah, I just don't think like the big names like her and like what we were saying earlier, like with Leo, I don't think they would be doing that much more press anyway. Like they'll just have to do like the press push for the film when it opens, right? Like that's what we're missing now from Leo. Like he didn't go to the premieres, you know?
Right.
And no junkets. So
they must be loving this.
I mean, like Leo does no press. I'm like when was the last time he did a late night talk show? Like, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood does not count because he just did a drive-by on Kimmel with Brad and Marty.
He did a lot. I felt like he did for Hollywood. He did a lot with the three of them together.
Yeah, he and Brad went on Mark Maron's pod together. Yep. So
they did. Josh Horowitz did that interview with the three of them.
Yeah.
He asked Leo about the Titanic, the door.
Yeah, and of course that,
still goes viral. I just saw it the other day. Went viral again.
Yeah. And then he had to ask Kate Winslet about it last year when he talked to her for Avatar. So like, but yeah, I don't think like it doesn't matter for the big names. I guess like, for round tables and stuff and actors on actors.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting. To me, I think the two people who we would have already been not tired of them, but would have been like inundated with features and stories were Coleman Domingo and Annette Bening, based on how at Telluride they probably would have been like all over the place, right? Like, and like maybe even got a tribute.
Coleman got a tribute, right?
He got a tribute at Tip. I think at Telluride it was going to be Annette Bening, and she was going to get a tribute with Naiad. And then at Toronto, Coleman got a tribute, but for Sing Sing
next year.
So they both would have been all over the place, and you would have gotten like the coronation of Coleman Domingo and like Annette Bening finally due, and we would have been talking about that over and over again.
Yeah, Coleman would be on the ground a lot. I mean, he was on the ground for Euphoria a lot,
right? So and his short film last year, right? Remember he had like an animated short, I think, wasn't that right? So I feel like those two would have been like significantly more visible, but I also don't think it hurts yet because, like, frankly, we're not like. If this ends in like a week or so, nobody's going to care about anything that happened previously. You know what I mean? People are already forgetting like the writers, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's like out of sight, out of mind, moved on to something new. And so like, we're not doing Oscar nominations for 4 months or whatever it is, 3 months, 4 months. So there's plenty of time for Coleman Domingo to be out there like kissing babies.
Yeah. It's October. Like I've always said, like they need to make the deals for both the writers and SAG by the end of October, because I was like the summer is a wash because like all the producers are on vacation and then they'll get serious after Labor Day, and they did. And then they have until the end of October, because once the holidays roll around they'll just be on vacation again until January.
It'll be the next couple of weeks at least, or latest, and then they'll just kind of go back to it, and then productions maybe will start before the end of the year. But also like the promotion stuff starts right away.
Like things have already been written, so like they can start shooting like in January. But yeah, like at this point, if the strike ends like by the end of the month, like I don't think campaigning would have been impacted that much. And like as we've seen, they were prepared for this. Like a lot of them banked interviews, like Carey's Vogue cover. And so no, like that's not calling anyone out. Like I do believe, because there would be paper trails. They could be easily exposed if anything happened after July 14th. maybe
easily exposed, but if everybody's in on it,
I mean, they would all have to be phone calls. So
maybe not. Yeah, I'm not.
They would all have to be phone calls if you don't want a paper.
I'm a little more cynical than you. I think it's just I find it curious that
I think people are talking about stuff, but I think those interviews were done. I mean, like in print, like magazines, like monthly covers, you do have to do that shit very early on, months in advance.
Sure, you do. I'm not saying I'm not using Carey Mulligan as an example. I'm just saying in general, it's curious to me that a lot of interviews have been just happened to have done the last 2 days before the SAG strike.
Well, they didn't say 2 days before. It could have been done in May. Like it's like we know this movie is coming out at the end of the year, and like we know there's a chance of a strike, and at that point, it's like the writer's strike.
Yeah, I'll just say I'm a little more cynical. I'm not sure, but it's fine. It doesn't bother me either way. I think the whole thing that is like, it's all just parlor games basically to me. It doesn't matter. And then Uri's last one. I'm asking for your take on the other categories that open up in the Prediction Center. that you haven't yet discussed. Animated, there are actually 8 contenders. I don't believe Mario will be nominated, and the text look like Oppenheimer and Barbie and Poor Things. The other contenders I'm not sure about. I'm happy Dune moved, because with it in the ceremony, I think it would have been really boring. Thanks for listening. I guess, to his email, Uri. Thanks, Uri. Just, we haven't done these yet. Do you want to do them live?
I mean, I don't even know what I had because I haven't touched them in like a month.
So we have them. We both have done them, but not talked about them. And we don't need to go deep into this, I guess. But do you want to just go through the back half of the prediction center? It's cinematography, costumes, film editing, production design, and animated feature.
Cinematography. Where am I? Cinematography. Okay, so I have Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Killers of Flower Moon, Maestro, and The Zone of Interest.
So that's the top 5 in the odds. I have Oppenheimer, Killers of Flower Moon, Poor Things, Maestro, and Saltburn.
You're just in the tank for Saltburn.
Lena Sandgren, just unhinged. It's so good, but he doesn't always get in / ever. So he's like my favorite cinematographer, but also like not necessarily a slam dunk here with The Branch. Saltburn is in 7th, it looks like. Color Purple is in 6th, and then Barbie in 8th. Asteroid City and The Killer. I think The Killer we're sleeping on. We're both seeing that on Saturday at New York Film Festival.
I don't really know how, even not having seen it, I don't know how big The Killer will go over there with the Oscars. I can see Color Purple getting in. I can see Past Lives getting in too. I think that's a dark horse.
Maybe. I finally saw it. It's good.
You mean the movie or the cinematography?
I think the movie is good. I think the cinematography was okay. I kind of
the movie.
think the sound design was better. I think the sound is really good, even though it's not the type of movie that would get in for sound, because it's just like talking. But I do think there's a lot of like good sound because there's so many quiet moments in it. That like are, well, I could honestly see The Killer getting in, because I think just the tech aspect of it, I think, will be well received. But we haven't seen it yet, so who knows?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't have high expectations for them embracing it.
Yeah. Next is costume design. And we both have Oppenheimer winning cinematography, I guess, at this point. Yes.
Yes.
Costume design. You want to go first?
Why are you embarrassed?
No, I just, you went first last time, so I figured you could go first again.
Costume. I have Poor Things, Barbie, Color Purple, Maestro, and Killers of the Flower Moon.
I have the same 5.
Wow, why are you copying me?
Why are you copying me? We have Maestro is the outlier here, because a lot of people have Wonka, which I've heard is like a good crafts contender from people who've seen it.
Well, I mean, you could just tell by looking at it.
But the top 5 are Poor Things, Barbie, Killers, Flower Moon, Color Purple, and Wonka. Then Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and then Maestro. Having seen Maestro, I would be kind of surprised if it didn't get in. It also has it's on the poster, but it has the dress kind of thing, which I always feel like when there's like a item of clothing that is a standout thing, that helps maybe. So I don't know, but I could see Wonka getting in. Sure. Obviously, I think I have Wonka elsewhere.
Yeah, I think Wonka would just be like, total just crafts player, like costumes, like Cinderella style.
I think I have it in for production design too. Spoiler alert.
And yeah, I think like the Maestro costume is just very classic, obviously, because it was Mark Bridges. So
that was also why I put it in, because I know he's obviously so beloved by the.
Yeah, and he also won a jet ski last time, along with his Oscar for Phantom Thread.
So Poor Things versus Barbie seems like a really competitive race, I would say. I have Poor Things, and I think you do as well.
I do too, but like I have said previously, when I made the Barbie Black Panther comparison, like I could see Barbie winning the same crafts that Black Panther won against the favorite.
I could as well, and I think I might actually switch Barbie into first, but I'm not doing it right now. But I don't see why I wouldn't win, I guess. I don't know. I guess the reasoning I had it was because Poor Things is probably a stronger Best Picture contender, but Barbie's obviously no slouch, and I just think it could easily win. And it's got, again, incredibly memorable costumes, which I think helps.
Yeah, and Barbie's also Jacqueline Duran, so.
And it's also I guess the other thing is like Poor Things is really elaborate and there are so many cool costumes, but it is still like a costume drama that you've seen shades of before. And Barbie, I think, is like wholly original. Like some of the stuff.
Yeah, it's more like Black Panther.
Yeah, it is.
Even though it's like, dolls.
Yeah, you haven't really seen like the Ken outfits are like crazy. They're so good. And all of them are so detailed. Editing is a fun one, Joyce. What do you got?
Editing. I have, where's this? Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, The Holdovers, and Barbie. I don't feel like great about this. I think I just put these because they were my top 5.
Those are the top 5 in the odds. I have Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Barbie, The Holdovers, and Maestro. I do not have Killers of the Flower Moon.
I think Killers can just do it because it's Thelma.
So that would be the case for it, I would argue. It's been hit with the long Marty movies. She's been like hit and miss, right? I feel like she got in for Irishman.
Yeah.
Did she get in for Wolf of Wall Street?
Wolf, no. But I also feel like that was late.
Yeah, it was late, but it's awesome. And it should have gotten, you know what I mean? Like I felt like that was like,
I mean, it would have gone in because that year, like the surprise quote unquote nominee was Dallas Buyers Club.
Right.
So they just everyone just really loved Dallas Buyers Club.
I mean, if you watch, I just rewatched Wolf of Wall Street, truly like one of the best movies ever made. And like her editing is unimpeachably great. And the reason it's so good is because of the way the movie's put together. And so that she wasn't nominated. I mean, it doesn't mean anything for this, but I'm just like,
no, I think that one was just like, it was just too late.
She's not like a slam dunk to me to get in, even though she's not a Shoemaker for this. I'm not sure. The only problem is I'm not sold on Maestro getting in. I found the way it was edited actually pretty compelling. I really liked it, and the way they kind of moved through the story. I think you could argue Anatomy of a Fall, which is 6 in the odds, would maybe get in as well. I think the way that story unfolds is like really well put together.
Yeah, I almost put that in instead of Barbie, but I didn't. And I think there's like a lot of options for the last spot.
Ferrari and again, I'll go back. Even The Killer, I think, just based on who's doing it and stuff, would be like potentially getting in, as like, especially because Fincher's success in this category or his movies as well. So I'm not sure about this 5 either. I don't have Killers Flower Moon right now. It's second in the odds. I have Oppenheimer. To me, it should win because, like we've talked about, it's a 3-hour movie that feels like 90 minutes. So like that alone should help it get in and win. But
well, it's also like structurally, it's just very well put together. Like I don't know how else to explain it.
Poor Things and Barbie, I think, are right along the same in the same league to me because they're so funny, and like I think that's like an underrated aspect of editing is like making the jokes land. So I don't think either one has a standout of the other one. And The Holdovers, I just feel like it's just an easy editing pick. So we'll see. Maestro, I just really I like the way they put it together, and I like the way it moved through time. And I thought that was like,
yeah, I really like the way they dealt with time there. I thought about that too, but I just didn't do it. So I don't know. There's also like Color Purple, like you need good editing in a musical. So I don't know what it's like, obviously.
No, but I could see that too, and it getting in for sound too, like obviously, right? Like American Fiction is pretty high. Ferrari is pretty high. It's actually right under Maestro. I'll see when we see it. Air also in there. Billy Goldenberg. Production design. What do you got, Joyce?
Production design. Where's this? Right here. I have Barbie, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and The Color Purple.
I actually have the same 5. I switched from I switched Wonka out. I switched Wonka out for Color Purple.
Wow.
This is after the trailer. Yeah, I have Barbie winning, and I think it should win. The production design is awesome. They built so much of it. Everything in it
Right.
is like really cool, really detailed. It's just I love it so much. But that feels like a good 5. I also think Killer's Flower Moon could win here. I would put it even over Oppenheimer. It just looks like a real movie. So it helps.
You mean like it looks like Oklahoma
Yeah.
in 1920s?
I mean, the bar is on the ground because of how much shit we have to watch. But I'm like, when movies look like real movies now, I'm like, man, that is great. I love a real movie.
Um, so would you, I mean, like I think Oppenheimer looks like a real movie too, and they built a
It
fake
does.
town.
It does. I love Oppenheimer as well. I think they're both great. But I think Flower Moon may be a little higher. I don't know. It just got
Yeah,
that
I mean, like
majestic
Flower Moon can
scope.
win all of these crafts too.
Oppenheimer can win all these crafts.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Flower Moon. I mean, we didn't talk about the Flower Moon costume design really, but it's gorgeous.
Love the costumes in Flower Moon.
Yeah.
It,
So
these are like we said, this is why these like 4 movies, basically, if you count poor things, is like they're all gonna get double. They could all get double-digit nominations, really. Even Barbie can easily, and they're all going to be competing for like the same awards.
and one of them can win all of them.
Yeah.
So
I guess we'll have plenty of time to talk about this, but do you think one of them can win all of them, like Dune style, or you could actually split if you were being like a nuanced thinker between these movies? Do you think they'll just be lazy and just go right down the middle? Like if one of these movies gains momentum as like the best picture winner, right? Like if it's Oppenheimer all the way and it's going to win best picture, does it just steamroll the crafts then and win like 7 or 8 Oscars?
well, I mean, I think the Dune sweep happened because it was just kind of a weak year because it was like coming out of COVID,
Yeah,
so
sure.
there weren't a lot of, releases. I mean, there were releases, but not, the usual stuff. And I think it was just kind of easy for it to dominate in its categories. And I think Power of the Dog finished second in a lot of the categories. And, there's just not enough passion for that movie to win. Like, it could have won cinematography, and it didn't.
Right.
It could have won sound and it didn't. Let me look up those nominees. I don't remember what they were. All of Dune's wins. Yeah, so Dune original score. So Hans Zimmer won finally, his second one. He beat Bertel for Don't Look Up. Encanto, Parallel Mothers, Power of the Dog. Yeah, so Power of the Dog could have won that one.
Right.
No. And then sound, it won over Belfast. No Time to Die, Power of the Dog, West Side Story. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Production design went over Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, West Side Story. Cinematography beat Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, West Side Story. Editing beat Don't Look Up, King Richard, Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom, and visual effects, obviously, over Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi, No Way Home. So it was just like so obvious it was winning a lot of these categories. Like editing was very up in the air because like different movies were winning everywhere. And like Dune doesn't really have that flashy editing, but it was just like they're just gonna give it to it.
So then would you say like this? So then
I think this year's more competitive.
Right. So you think there's a world where like Oppenheimer, like there won't be like if one of these movies emerges as the best picture frontrunner, it doesn't necessarily mean that these crafts categories will just lock in.
No, but I also think that could happen if it's just like a full sweep.
Right.
Too,
Interesting. But it's interesting.
so.
I mean, like I guess if I was going to predict, I mean, like I think that would be Oppenheimer or Flower Moon. If we
Like
get
I don't
there.
think Oppenheimer would win.
Costumes.
But yeah, like the arts, crafts, like costumes or production design.
I mean, I think it could win production design because, like you said, they built the whole town and like they built the bomb.
Yeah,
Different
but
things.
like I don't think it's the favorite in that. Like I think it's the
No.
favorite in sound.
I think it could win sound and cinematography for sure, and editing.
Yeah.
And I think it could win production design if it's like a steamroller. I don't think it would win costumes because I think there's too competitive.
Yeah, I could also kind of see it missing costumes. I have it in, but
yeah. But like Flower Moon, I could see winning like production design, costumes, and
yeah, I don't have it in. I think I took it out. Or no, maybe I didn't put it in at all. Yeah.
I mean, even though I don't have it in for editing, it could easily win for editing. Again, similarly, like who would be upset if Thelma Schoonmaker won another Oscar? I don't think anybody. We'll talk about these more. And then the last one we could predict animated feature is, as Uri suggested, he doesn't believe Super Mario Brothers is a contender. And I would say,
are you going to come for him? Because that's your favorite movie of the year.
To that, I would say, no, I talked to my kid who's seen it 100 times and me who's seen it probably 8 times. And it's great. And I have it in there. Go ahead. What do you have for this category, Joyce?
Animated. I have Spider-Verse, The Boy and Heron, Elemental, Wish, and Super Mario. I agree. I can see it missing, but I just put it in.
I have Spider-Verse, Boy and the Heron, Wish, Super Mario, and Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. I do not have Elemental. I don't think, even though I was heartened when the premature stories were written about how it flopped and then it made like $450 million worldwide. It's not a movie that has a lot of staying power for anyone. And I just don't even, and I think in animated movies too, like, I bet you a lot of voters, I'm sure there are people who are watching these and are like loving them. And I also think there are voters who are like, what do my kids like? Or what do kids I know like? And I'm like, Elemental is fine. I don't think it's got like a big,
but it could also have been one of the films that they have seen because it's been out. They took their kids to see it.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of these are
watch Wish.
I think a lot of people are going to see a lot of these. I think Wish is going to do, I mean, the tracking on Wish, not that the tracking means anything, is like pretty high. So I feel like people are going to definitely see that over Thanksgiving when it comes out. And Chicken Run I put in because it's going to be on Netflix. And the first one was in here, obviously, as well, I think. So I think that'll be easily widely seen. I left out Ninja Turtles, which I think is 5th in our odds. It's Spider-Man, Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Wish, and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I don't have that either.
So. And we both have Spider-Verse winning. It seems like pretty obvious that it'll win, even though I don't think it's nearly as good as the first one. And people are finally kind of saying that out loud.
Well, people are so mad at it because it ends like an episode of TV.
I mean, the ending was the best part. My thing with Spider-Verse, we talked about this or no? The opening is like amazing. The Spider-Gwen like origin story that they do basically for like the first 25 minutes. And then the end is great because it's more goes back to the Spider-Gwen, and then everything in the middle is just like, and I'm like, if they were gonna do this, they probably could have just done a Spider-Gwen movie, because I think Haley Steinfeld is great as.
I mean, it's just really very much structured as the second movie, you know, and then it's like they're just trying to set up, and then with the ending too. So.
All right, we've so many more emails here, Joyce. We'll go through we'll speed through these because I feel like we've talked so much. Let me see here. Did we do this one? No. Here's from Nick. Huge fan of the podcast, and you're writing for many years now. Wow, thanks.
Many years.
I was wondering if you've heard any inside scoop on Napoleon. It feels like one of the last question marks of the season that could shake up the race. Could a successful release of the film pull votes from Oppenheimer? Both films are historical war or war-adjacent biopics, appealing to an older male crowd. However, Napoleon seems more action-packed, which could appeal to more voters who like Nolan's films, but perhaps expected more bombs to go off. Would love to hear your thoughts. Cheers, Nick.
Well, there's going to be a 4-hour cut on Apple.
So, haven't seen it yet. Love Ridley Scott. I love House of Gucci, big fan. But when you're already talking about the director's cut before the real version comes out and is in theaters, I just find that like not the greatest sign. Haven't seen it. Don't really know anybody who's seen it.
I know it's been seen, but it's kind of like a Color Purple situation.
I think a few people have seen it.
Yeah, like a few people have seen it. So
it's going to be a big priority probably for Apple / under Flower Moon. And then Sony, I think, would have more of a stake in it because they're releasing it theatrically. And they'll probably want to do it since Dumb Money didn't go anywhere.
So, it's like obviously Flower Moon is Apple's top priority.
We talked about this, I think, in the column. I think if it's a good movie, regardless, Vanessa Kirby, I think, could get a lot of momentum in supporting actress because that's kind of more open now. Sounds like she's like a co-lead that they're going to run in supporting actress. And I don't know, I could see her getting in, maybe even as a lone nominee. But as we've seen with like Ridley movies of recent vintage, they're not the most,
Yeah,
they're not most
not very successful.
Yeah. So
Justice for The Last Duel.
I mean, like that would be like Jodie Comer getting in, or maybe she should have gotten in. Like, who knows? So I don't know.
I feel like it's so like there's been, you know, like obviously footage from it, but it's another late release. And I can see it kind of getting lost. And there, like I think there will be interest in it, but I don't know. I think it could just be like a movie that's released and maybe it gets like a couple craft nominations. Like I don't know about Joaquin either.
Yeah, I don't have him in. I mean, it's pretty competitive. I don't know. Next up, we have Riley Joyce. Emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Hey, Joyce and Chris. It's been a bit since my last email. I'm typically more invested in the Emmys than the Oscars, but I've been feeling burnt out with the TV Academy's apathy towards Better Call Saul, and now I'm all in on the Oscars this year. I wanted to talk about Ryan Gosling's chances to win for Barbie. You mentioned in a recent Slugfest that Gosling winning seems pretty unlikely, but I'm not sure I totally agree. Gosling as Ken has arguably received more buzz and discussion than any other supporting performance this year, with countless memes and discussions about him. And while you're right that the Academy doesn't typically award comedic performances, it's worth remembering that comedy films are also not typically Best Picture nominated, which many are expecting Barbie to be. And while Mark Ruffalo is also giving a comedic performance, I don't feel his level of buzz comes anywhere near close to Gosling's to risk overshadowing him, especially since the overwhelming majority of Poor Things' acting buzz is centered on Emma Stone. I understand that RDJ is the current frontrunner, and he could very well end up sweeping, but I have a feeling that this category will be one of those cases where voters don't really care about narrative or momentum and simply pick Gosling because they love his performance. Obviously, it's too early for anyone to truly know anything, but I'd still love to hear your thoughts. That's from Riley. Pretty convincing.
Well, you're the Barbie stan.
I gotta say, really convincing me that he can win.
Are you gonna switch to Ryan?
I'm gonna keep RDJ, but I'm gonna put Ryan in second, where I didn't have him. I think I had Ruffalo in second. And now Ryan is in second. There he is. So you talk about this a lot. We've talked about this a lot. They just vote for what they like. And I think there is a world where they just love him in the movie. It's impossible not to like him in this movie. And I think, yes, everybody will be talking about RDJ, and I think the narrative is great, and like he's also great, and people clearly love him in the movie. But I could just see a world where people are like, I like Ryan Gosling the most. I'm gonna vote for him. And if enough people do that, then he could win. So I don't think it's off base.
No, I don't think so either, but I will just say it's important not to conflate like the general public's love for this performance and like the media hype and love for this performance with whatever the industry's feeling is about this performance. Like I do think the industry loves the movie a lot and probably love him too, but like it's not like a one-to-one comparison. Like they could love him and love like Robert De Niro more, you know? Or whoever, like RDJ.
Ruffalo. I mean, that's what the category is incredibly competitive, and you have like 4 actors.
Yeah. Like I do think if you're gonna poll like film Twitter, like Ryan would probably win. If like they're the ones, and just like regular people like normies, like he would probably come out in first.
Yeah,
but they're also not the ones voting for the Oscars. So, yeah, I think a lot of things would have to like fall in line for him. Like I think he would have to sweep, and if he doesn't sweep, I think he would really need a lot of apathy for the other nominees.
Yeah,
and I don't think that would be the case. So
next up we have Justin. Hey guys, love your show. And Joyce, we're apparently the same high school year from the New York City area, so your 2000 stories always ring true for me.
It's a class of 2003. It's my 20-year anniversary.
Wow. Are you gonna go to your high school reunion?
I don't know.
I don't think I ever went.
I never went to the 10-year. They
I would
did
do
like
college, but not high
they
school.
stay because they're like we have to buy tickets. So they've been posting about that and encouraging people to buy tickets. So yeah.
I've been thinking lately that Greta Gerwig and especially Christopher Nolan have a good shot to win Oscars this year. But even if they don't, the 2017-18 director race is becoming more and more legendary as that year's newcomers, Peele and Gerwig, keep adding to their careers. Not necessarily for the nominated films. I don't really love Shape of Water, but it's fine. But Guillermo del Toro, Christopher Nolan, Jordan Peele, Greta Gerwig, and Paul Thomas Anderson is, I think, safe to say now 5 for 5 on directors whose careers will be remembered for decades. Can you think of a better lineup this century, again, for their careers, not just the films in question? And it'll be strange if after this year, the only one without an Oscar is PTA. Someday. Thanks for
We've talked about this before.
We have. So, like, what do you think, though, in this century would be a better lineup than that? I was having
that's a pretty baller lineup.
So
I would have to look. Let me see. I have to
so we'll go back to, do you want to count 2000, even though that's
well, yes, because that's the films of 2000. I mean, that was a great lineup too. Double Steven, Ridley,
Ang Lee, and Stephen Daldry.
Yeah, that's a great lineup.
That's great, but not tops. 2001 is almost great. I'd actually say it's pretty great. If you compare
it's really the winner in 2001.
So I like Ron Howard movies though.
In Oscars playback.
Yes.
So I feel like we should remember what we said. But
I like Ron Howard a lot. I think he's like a real fun filmmaker.
I do too, but not this movie.
Not for this movie, but just saying career-wise. This is Ron Howard, Robert Altman, Peter Jackson, David Lynch, and Ridley Scott. That's pretty great.
Yeah, that's a good lineup. 2002
is Polanski, Pedro Almodovar,
Ron Marshall,
Daldry, and Scorsese. Not great. 2003, I think, is up there. So I think the one we're talking about, 2017-18, is better. Peter Jackson, Sofia Coppola, Clint Eastwood, Fernando Morales, and Peter Weir. 2004, Eastwood, Taylor Hackford, Mike Lee, Alexander Payne, and Marty.
So, not quite all there, I would say.
2005,
Mike Lee.
2005. Which one of these is not like the other? Ang Lee, George Clooney, Paul Haggis, Bennett Miller, and Steven Spielberg.
Wow, that's a real tough one.
2006, Scorsese, Eastwood, Stephen Frears, Paul Greengrass, and Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu.
It's okay. It's good.
Not the biggest Frears guy. This one is pretty good, 2007, but could have been all time based on the year. But it's the Coens, PTA, Tony Gilroy, Jason Reitman, and Julian Schnabel.
Yeah, this is a good lineup.
2008, Boyle, Daldry, Fincher, Howard, and Gus Van Sant.
This is like mid. It's good. I would just place in the middle like a lot of these. I do recall saying that in Oscars playback, I don't often think about Danny Boyle. That's not a slight. It's just like I don't really think about him a lot.
He's not on that level of like the guys and gals. 2009, Bigelow, Cameron, Lee Daniels, Jason Reitman, and Tarantino. It's okay.
Yeah.
2010, Tom Hooper, Darren Aronofsky, Coens, Fincher, David O. Russell.
I'm not a big Russell guy, so
I am, and I think there's one later actually that rivals the one we're talking about, but not this one. 2011, Michel Hazanavicius. I forgot how to do his name. I knew it in 2011. I can't do it now. For the artist, Woody Allen, Terrence Malick, Alexander Payne, and Scorsese. This will be the fourth time, I think, that Alexander Payne and Scorsese are in the same director race if they both get in. Is that right? That's funny. 2012 is Ang Lee, Michael Haneke, David O. Russell, Spielberg, and the immortal Ben Zeitlin. Just
the best year ever, really.
So this is the year I would say rivals the Gerwig Nolan year. Alfonso Cuarón, Steve McQueen, Alexander Payne, David O. Russell, and Martin Scorsese.
I would just say no, just because I'm not into David O. Russell.
So I am, and I think this is like, I mean, Cuarón, McQueen, and Marty are like all time.
They're
So that's
great. I mean,
choreography.
there's usually in these, there's usually like one or two people I'm not really into.
So 2014 is Inarritu, Wes Anderson, Linklater, Bennett Miller, and Morton Tilden.
The Imitation Game.
2015 is Inarritu, Lenny Abrahamson, Tom McCarthy, Adam McKay, and George Miller.
Adam McKay, not super popular, but I like The Big Short.
I really like this lineup, but I feel like in terms of like their careers, Lenny Abrahamson and Tom McCarthy are solid, but not like marquee filmmakers. And they've done great TV, honestly, but like they're not on the level of McKay, George Miller, and Inarritu. And certainly not on the level of
and it was
Jordan Peele.
like obviously they were not winning this either.
No.
So
2016, another almost so close. Damien Chazelle, Mel Gibson, Barry Jenkins, Kenneth Longer, and Denis Villeneuve. That's 4 out of 5 ain't bad. 2017 is Del Toro, Anderson, Gerwig, Nolan, and Peele. That's just amazing. 2018, Koran, Lanthimos, Spike, Adam McKay, and Paul Pawlikowski.
Yeah, I like that one too. I wouldn't say it's my fave, but it's good.
This one I like too.
This is a great
mileage
one.
may vary. This one is great, I think. Bong Joon-ho, Sam Mendes, Todd Phillips, Martin Scorsese, and Quentin Tarantino. I'm not the biggest Joker
I'm not
guy,
I'm not a big Joker fan either.
but I am a big fan of Hangover and Old School. And so
the first Hangover.
The first Hangover. The other two don't count. And Sam Mendes, I think, has made great movies. And obviously Marty Scorsese and Bong Joon-ho are like all time. Though if this was like Greta for Little Women instead of
that
would make it great. 2020 would be Chloe Zhao, Lee Isaac Chung, Emerald Fennell, Fincher, and Vinterberg. Maybe too early to say. We're only on like second.
Yeah, I mean, like you're the number one Saltburn stan.
So. I mean, Saltburn is the best. I think Emerald and David Fincher are really, really great. I'm not the biggest Chloe Zhao fan, and
Lee Isaac Chung is doing Twisters.
Yeah, 21 is almost great. Jane Campion, PTA, Kenneth Branagh, Rasuge Hamaguchi, and Steven Spielberg.
I mean, they like resume wise, I think, like Ken has had good early stuff.
That's nice. That's very diplomatic. And then this year, or 2022, Daniels, Todd Field, Martin McDonagh, Ruben Östlund, and Steven Spielberg. Again, I may be too early to tell because like the Daniels have made like successful movies, obviously Everything Everywhere, and
I mean, that was their second movie.
What was the corpse one?
Swiss Army Man, remember?
That's it. So I'm like, those are solid. Like, we'll see. They're not like they would need, like, Jordan Peele obviously has now made 3 awesome movies. Greta, like the third movie kind of helped elevate, I think, that one we're talking about. So we'll see. That's a fun exercise though. A lot of good directors.
That's why the director's branch is fun, because they can be incredibly clubby, but like they're just so idiosyncratic and they could just zig when everyone else has zagged throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you could have seen that Aaron Sorkin snub coming for Chicago 7.
Yeah.
It's like you knew that was happening.
So what's the snub this year?
And what's in the top 5?
Well, I mean, I think right now, let me see.
I mean, it's hard to fill it out for me because it's so competitive.
So right now, the top 5. The top 5 is Nolan, Marty, Yorgos Lanthimos, Greta Gerwig, and Jonathan Glazer, and then Alexander Payne. So I think you have no Greta.
I don't have Greta. I have Justine Triet. But again, like I said, like I can totally see Jonathan Glazer get again. And I feel like because that's exactly the type of directing nomination they would do.
So then who would, like, here's the thing, who would miss if that happened? If my 5 right now are Nolan, Lanthimos, Greta, Marty, and Alexander Payne. I think a lot of people would say like Greta would be an easy miss, but I actually think she's kind of in now with the club. And I wonder if Alexander Payne would miss.
I would say of those, it would be one of them, those two.
Because we all kind of think the top three feels pretty
Yeah,
set,
like I
right?
think those three are in, so I think it would be one of them.
I mean, I would say Payne maybe, because I'm just not sure. But I also think Justine Triet could get in too. And so it's going to be very competitive. And we didn't even mention Bradley Cooper, who maybe has a, I mean, we both said
has he risen since last week? I don't even know where he was before.
Let's see. The top five, like I said, Nolan, Scorsese, Lanthimos, Greta, Jonathan Glazer, then Payne in 6th, Justine Triet in 7th, Celine Song in 8th, and Bradley in 9th. Blitz Bazawule in 10th. I mean, it's a shame that's so crowded, but like Bradley would, I think in a softer year, he would have a stake a better claim.
A tough year. Like I said, Greta Gerwig always competes in tough years.
So. I think she'll get in. I just think people really like it, but we'll see. This one's from Sebastian. Hi, Joyce and Chris. First, I want to say that I enjoy your slugfest about award season, especially the Academy Awards. Here's my take. As a fellow German who is living not far from the birthplace of Sandra Huller, I am rooting for her to get the nomination for Best Actress and even win. Here in Germany, she is a very respected, a Cate Blanchett type, if you will, and she has done good work for many years, especially dramatic roles. But I can tell you she can be damn funny in a comedy, too. For her to get all the international praise now makes me very proud. I'm really looking forward to seeing Anatomy of a Fall soon, as it hits theaters here in Germany, November 2nd. What do you think? Does she have a shot to win, or will she be more of the international nominee that does not get in everywhere but lands the Oscar nomination in the end? That's from Sebastian.
I feel like right now it feels more of the latter.
I personally think people are really sleeping on her. I feel like I've seen pundits even not predicting her.
Yeah, I've seen people drop her as other things have been seen.
I still have her in 3rd, and I could honestly I really could make a case for her winning, because I just think it's so crowded and competitive that you're going to have a lot of people supporting a lot of these, whatever the 5 ends up being. I think you could, I mean, we'll see at the time. Maybe we'll be like, oh, no way, because like, who knows? But I feel like you could really make a case for anyone winning here. And so I think that helps her because of her probably broad international support. And in a tight race, maybe that kind of gives her an edge. If a lot of the Hollywood types are like, I love Emma Stone, but I also love Carey Mulligan, but I also love Natalie Portman, but I also love Margot Robbie. You know what I mean? Like if they're all like, all these mainstream like A-list stars are like splitting their little pockets of support, that gives room for someone like Sandra Huller to maybe emerge and win.
Yeah, I can see her doing well with critics. Like I can see her taking one of the big 3. And I don't have her winning the Globe, but I can see her winning the Globe in drama, kind of like Isabelle Huppert did, who did not win because Emma Stone won. Right. So I don't think she would win SAG. So
I definitely don't think she'll win SAG. And I think if she gets nominated in SAG, that'd be great. Mm-hmm. But like we said, the movie is really down the middle, and I think that helps too.
It's very, very accessible.
Like you're not asking for like someone to watch like some austere international film.
It's not her other movie, The Zone of Interest.
No, it's not. And I'm like, I think that'll really help, because I think, like you said, it's like people love HBO procedurals and prestige TV.
Well, so the other thing I've also noticed is because like actress has gotten crowded, you know, now like Lily's in lead, and like, you know, people have seen Maestro and everything, and are also like, they've started predicting Carey to win, some people. I've seen people start to predict Sandra in supporting for Zone of Interest. I don't think she'll get double nominations. And if I had to pick one nomination for her to get, I think her chances would be in actress, even if it's the more crowded category, than supporting, because Zone of Interest is not really an acting showcase, whereas she's just all over Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah. I also, having seen Zone of Interest, and villains and like certainly reprehensible people have been nominated for 4, and that's like a great way to get an Oscar nomination, playing that kind of character. But wow, I would just say like it would just be surprising to me. I just don't think you walk out of that movie feeling like I really want to, like, I don't know. I don't think you want to like feel like
I think like that movie can get nominations, but I wouldn't put acting.
No, I agree. Like, Yeah,
So
I think when you walk out, I was when I walked out of the movie, I was like, wow, what an incredible filmmaking achievement, sound, directing, cinematography,
the score, like,
and then like the acting. I'm just like, I never want to see these people again. So just straight up, like, don't want to think about this. Don't want to look at these people again. And I just think that'll be a wall up to maybe
yeah,
protect.
I don't think like she'll like they'll like quote unquote take care of her in supporting because lead is
No.
too crowded. I don't think they think like that at all.
And
So,
obviously, people have like been nominated for playing Nazis and reprehensible people before. But again, the way the movie is presented, it's not like Ray Fiennes in Schindler's List is like a villain. You know what I mean? It's a different flavor
yeah.
of performance than this is. So I was just like, no fucking way. I don't want to see these people again. Anyway, so I don't think she'll get in for that, but I do think she could win for actress.
Yeah, and I do think she's been dropped too quickly.
Me too.
But then I'm over here, I dropped Fantasia, but only because like it hasn't been seen yet.
Yeah, and I just with the best actor, we can talk about best actress here because Face All is back with an email and it's about best actress as well. So we'll go there and we can keep talking about this. Face All emailing us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Really enjoying your weekly Oscar discussions. I know this may be a little crazy to think about now, but how locked is Lily Gladstone for a best actress nomination, really? I know she is in a top 5 movie with Killers of the Flower Moon, although not as solid as on that as before. But is there a case where the movie gets Irishmaned without the supporting actors, of course? I already have Leo out, and I could see Lily just as easily not getting nominated. I could see her being a lot of voters' fourth or fifth choice, but I think she could struggle finding the passion if other contenders' spots begin to take shape, like Emma Stone for Poor Things. The only thing I think is helping her right now is that there isn't a consolidated set of passion picks to choose from, with the best actress race still wide open. I also see the fact that she is essentially a supporting character in the film really hurting her, especially when we have so many great female lead capital C cinema movies this year. I'm thinking Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, Poor Things, and Maestro. Michelle Williams was able to easily switch categories and get in because she has more of a name and was nominated multiple times before. Plus, her category was nowhere near as competitive as it is this year. And although I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon, Michelle did have a lot of Oscar clips. I know this is very early and quite speculative, and I still have Lily as my number 3, but I'm curious to know your thoughts.
I'm curious to know if he saw drop Leo because of you, or did you already have him out?
I don't know. I doubt anybody's watching this or listening to this and going, I'm going to follow Chris's lead on anything. So
you never know. You never know. So Faisal is wary of her even getting the nomination.
He still has her ranked 3rd. He hasn't seen it.
He hasn't seen it.
Big caveats here.
Yes. I have her in 3rd too.
I have her in 4th, but I still have her in.
Yes. I think she can get in. Just if the movie is like top 3 or like top 5, like a top contender, like I think that could be enough to carry her in, even if you have reservations about other aspects of the film or like her performance. Like I think the movie could be strong enough to carry her in. So, but it is a tough category. And yeah, I never put her in 1st when she went lead.
Neither did I. I have her in 4th. I feel pretty confident that she'll get in. I would be very surprised actually if she did not get in. Regardless of the the length, like whatever, like it's not even worth really I mean, who cares really at this point because she's campaigning in lead, so it's actually not worth like rehashing.
It doesn't matter where she is. It doesn't. Yeah, and those are like where she is and like what the role is in the movie are 2 completely different things.
And so
the campaign and the role.
And so she's good enough to get in. Like Spike Lee said, she's got his vote.
Well, too bad he's not nominating her. So
he's not, but she's got his.
He'll vote for her to win.
So
yeah, but I do think like she would have the passion to get the number 1 votes to get in. Like I don't think she's like a 4 or 5.
And I actually don't know. Like I said, I have literally no idea who's gonna. I mean, I have Emma Stone in 1st, but I'm not. Are you really sure she's gonna win?
I think like any of these people can win.
I think any of these people can. My 5 is right now is Emma Stone, Carey Mulligan, Sandra Huller, Lily Gladstone, and Margot Robbie. I
I
think
have Emma, Carey, Lily, Sandra, and Annette.
okay. And then we neither of us have Fantasia. I would have Annette if I didn't have Margot. Fantasia, obviously there. Natalie Portman and Greta Lee hanging around. Kaylee Spaney for Priscilla, I think could probably maybe get in. And then after that, you're into like the longer shots like Anjanae Ellis and Tiana Taylor. And Jodie Comer for my beloved bike riders. I can make a case for any of these people winning. And I can honestly make a case for some of them missing. Like obviously Margot Robbie, I think could miss, though more and more the brief moments I get to talk to people who are like in the know.
You're just surrounding yourself with
it's
Philip
certainly like self-selecting bias, but I was like, people do love her. If they love the movie, I think she can get in. I like you had mentioned, like Carrie, I think has gotten great reviews, but there is a world where she just doesn't get in even, right? And maybe she's like a 4 or 5 for people, but I think she's gotten in because of the reviews are so good and she's great. But it's not
and she is like, you know, they've been pushing Lily. Carrie is also the heart of her movie.
Right. So I feel like she could get in, or maybe I don't know. And like we were just saying, Sandra Huller, who knows either, right? We both think she's in, but I mean, I guess
like I don't think Lily would miss.
And whether she wins at this point, it's really hard to say because, like we said, like if the movie gets so much momentum and like people really respond to it, it very easily could see her winning. Regardless of the role size, it doesn't really matter. They're voting for something they like, and they like her, whether it's lead or supporting. It doesn't matter. They're still going to like her, and so maybe she wins. And maybe in the category where it's like Emma Stone is a front runner but has won already, and maybe it's like, you know, I don't know if they think like this or not. They didn't with like Frances McDormand, right? But like they don't necessarily need to give her another Oscar.
They
right now
think about that. I think if they just like you the most, then they'll just vote for you. It's not like gonna inhibit them from doing so.
We talked about this and I still would scoff at it, but like, so not comparing it to last year, but like just in terms of last year or this year, Cate Blanchett, they just liked Michelle Yeoh more. That's why
that was their favorite movie. It won 7 Oscars.
Favorite movie, and they liked it, and that's why she won. And she was the movie, and she was the heart of the movie, but she was also the movie. And so like this is a little tricky then with Lily. It's not a great comp, like we said, because she's maybe the heart of the movie if you want to give them that benefit of the doubt, but she's not the movie compared to like
Michelle. No, she's not the unequivocal lead of the movie like some of these other women are. And this year, not even last year, like Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett, you know, or Andrea Riseborough and Ana de Armas.
So who knows? But like I would be, I mean, at this point I would be actually shocked if she doesn't get in, Lily Gladstone. I just think it's like they like the movie, so why wouldn't she?
Yeah, I think she's in, and I think the win thing is a different conversation, and obviously we need to see how everything else unfolds. Like I could see her winning the Globe. I don't have her winning the Globe, but I can see her winning the Globe. I think SAG will be the trickiest just because her performance is so subtle, and that's not really the type of thing they go for.
Right.
I think she'll get into BAFTA, you know. I don't know if she'll win BAFTA, but I think she'll get into BAFTA.
We're running up on time, Joyce. So I want to do. I got 1, 2, and then like 5 more. Last 5. They're quick though. I think some of these will be quick. Slugfest@goldderby.com. Please keep the emails coming. If we didn't get to your email this week, I probably will get to it next week if not enough people email in, I guess. So just not ignoring your emails. This one's from Josh, first time emailer from Ottawa. Thanks for emailing, Josh.
Oh, Canada.
You two are my go-to for all awards coverage. Thank you. I have a question. How would you rank your picks for the Big 6 awards in terms of confidence, 1 being the most confident and 6 being the least confident?
Like who's gonna win?
Yes. So we'll do picture, director, actress, actor, and supporting actress and supporting actor.
I don't feel confident about any of them. I guess maybe probably RDJ in supporting.
So is it easier to go? I don't feel confident in any of these either. But if I was going to rank them in the 6, I would say number 1 most confident would be RDJ in supporting, and number 2 most confident for me would be Nolan for director.
Yeah, I would probably say the same.
Number 3 for me would be picture for Oppenheimer, but I'm not very confident in that. So take
I
that
guess
as it
so.
were.
Then the other ones, what are left? So actor.
Actress, supporting actress, and actor. And those are all no
Yeah,
confidence.
out of what's left, I would do picture third, and then um I don't because I have Killian still.
I have Bradley.
I don't know.
I would say
Maybe I would do supporting actress last. Like
I would
the
do supporting actress last because I have literally no idea, and I would do actress just above it because I also don't think it's very clear, and then actor.
yeah, like
And
those are like a flip flop for me in like fourth and fifth.
so it's
But
exciting
I'm
though,
not
because
confident in any of them.
we're not confident in it is. That's exciting when it's like this.
This is why phase one is the best part of the season. Like it's so boring in phase two, especially when people have won things and then things are like settling into place and it could just be a lot of rubber stamping.
Here's one from Angie, another first-time emailer. Emailed us at slugfest@goldarray.com. I'm seeing chatter already about Charles Melton as if he's seemingly come out of nowhere. I know you guys touched on this a bit already, and I don't want to rehash the CW exists thing from last year, even though it seems like he might just be this year's Austin Butler. So instead, I must ask, who do you think is next in the CW to Oscar pipeline? It's from Angie. Joyce, what do you think?
Well, I mean, we have to make the distinction that the CW under new ownership now. So the current CW, not the same as the old CW from which Charles Melton came.
Right.
And also Austin Butler.
Right.
But I have to say, I have not watched a lot of recent CW.
I was way out on any of that superhero nonsense.
Oh yeah, like the
Arrowverse.
Didn't watch any of that.
Not doing that.
But I would say, I guess the most obvious picks and that like people in general would go to would be Rachel Bloom and Gina Rodriguez, also because like they had the most award success for their shows,
Yes.
Golden Globe winners. But those are too obvious because I don't think anyone would have been like Charles Melton, you know? So I don't know. I guess I would have looked at the cast.
I'll tell you, I got two right away. I know.
Okay.
Camila Mendes.
Of course, your fave.
Should have gotten an Oscar nomination for Do Revenge. Arguably better than most of the Best Actress nominees last year or this year. And Leighton Meester. Those would be my two.
And yeah, in fact, I think I would be okay with like almost anyone from Gossip Girl, like Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan probably is actually legitimately like probably the closest to getting an Oscar nomination. I would say
this is old school CW too.
That's more my
generation. That's like our generation CW.
Penn Badgley, I think, is good in a particular role.
Yeah, you know, if like Blake Lively acted again.
She was fun. Loved her in The Town. I know you did too.
Great performance.
Leighton, I think, is like really fun. Camila Mendes, though, I just think is like an outstanding talent. She's so good. So like I would definitely think she can get in. It would have to be like, I mean, I don't know. It'd have to be like who could do like it honestly put her in a Todd Haynes movie. It would be pretty great, I would say.
I mean, CW has a lot of people. I mean, not CW, Riverdale.
Yeah.
So
I really like Lily Reinhardt. I think in The Right Stuff.
Yeah, Lily Reinhardt, like Cole Sprouse. Madeleine Pesch.
I also like Ross Butler.
We mean like the young people. We're not counting the adults.
I mean, I guess we're not talking about the adults though. Like Matthew Settle, let's go, bring him back.
Yeah, I don't know what other. I don't. Any of the other Arrowverses. Stephen Amell. I like Melissa Benoist, just like in general.
Oh, she was really nice. I love her in a lot of stuff.
I did watch the Supergirl pilot because it was originally on CBS and I got like the screener for that. So right. But I never watched it again.
You got another one here.
I mean, like I like also Grant Gustin as like just a person.
Yeah, seems nice. These next two are emails that are not about the Oscars, but I think we'll both enjoy. And you can email us about anything, really. slugfest@goldarray.com. This one's from Ben, who must be a Twitter follower for me. The Mets have blown things up after a disappointing season, Chris. What are your thoughts about all the changes to the front office? Does this make you feel better about next year? Ben, thank you.
Can we just say, for your birthday present, Buck Showalter step down?
Get him out. And then I understand that he had to resign in disgrace because they're doing some fraud bullshit investigation into the way he handled the injury list. But Billy Epler also get out.
Yeah,
So,
he was out like 2 days later. Now it's
he
David
wasn't.
Stern with like a new fake position.
He wasn't going to
Whatever it's
resign.
called.
He wasn't going to resign. He's the GM for the Mets, if you're watching this and what we're talking about. And then he resigned abruptly after the Mets brought in a new president of baseball operations.
Yeah.
The reason he resigned, it was reported, is because he perhaps did some shenanigans with the injury list by putting players who weren't injured on the injury list. Just have to tell you, if you're watching this and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Baseball, players who go on the injury list are not always injured. It's a kind of a scam.
Yeah, that happens a lot, not just in baseball.
They call it a phantom injury.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you do it with someone who's terrible or someone who is having a tough time of it, or maybe just you need to make room for somebody who's better. And you go, hey, I could either cut you or put you on the fake injury list. If I cut you, you get no money. If you're on the fake injury list, we'll still pay you, whatever.
Yeah, you don't want them in the rotation.
Yeah.
For the day.
Anyway, he had to resign. So I'm all in on this. I love David Stearns. That he's the guy they brought in. I'm way in on Steve Cohen spending money. We're back at it. And as you're watching the baseball playoffs, Joyce, the thing I realized is all you do is just get in. So if the Mets get in next year, they have a good lineup.
They got in last year and then fucked it up. So as we usually do.
We don't need to be too good. The Dodgers are
no, and that because it's a completely different ball game, no pun intended.
Good.
Postseason.
Love that.
So I haven't watched that much. I was forced to watch the Phillies and the Braves over the weekend, which I hate both of them.
I hate both of them, but I'll tell you what, I'm weighing on the Phillies because I really, really hate the Braves, and I hate their fans.
Do same thing. Like the Braves, I want to win the least, so I have to root for the Phillies. And a lot of like my college friends are Phillies fans. Yeah. That's kind of like really where my additional hatred of the Phillies came from.
It's funny, growing up, they were always terrible. When I was like in the 80s, the Phillies were just a joke. Yeah. And so even when they got good, I just never really hated them. Like I hated the Braves because the Braves were so good.
I would say I was just kind of like apathetic towards the Phillies.
Yeah.
But I hated the Braves. But then like college, like so many of my friends were Phillies fans. So
you hated the Phillies.
Yeah. Same thing with the Eagles. Like I never really thought about the Eagles.
Yeah.
But then like college, I'm like, fuck the Eagles. So
and this one's from Nathan, another one off topic, but at least on entertainment. I know it's Oscar season, but Loki is finally back after 2 years. It's one of the few Marvel shows that seems to be on Emmy voters' radars. So I'm curious what your thoughts are about season 2 and if you think the show has any chance of being nominated or even winning next year. Joyce, you watched the screeners because you're a little more with it than me. I just watched the first episode.
Yeah, they sent 4. I watched all 4, obviously. Yeah. Good time. This week's episode, the second episode, which is out today, I guess, Thursday when this is out, is McDonald's.
Great. That was the button on the first episode. So
yeah, that was the post credits in the season premiere, 1982 Oklahoma McDonald's. So this one, they're there. And then 4 ends on a hilarious cliffhanger. So, but like the first season, it got some Guild nominations, and then got some below the line Emmy love. I can totally see it getting back in for production design and score. Natalie Holt all the way.
Great score, beautiful score. Yeah. I really love Owen Wilson in the first episode, and I gotta say, Ki Kwan, absolutely awesome.
It's great. I totally prefer him in this than Everything Everywhere.
I thought the exact same thing. I think he's so funny, and he's got the right sense of humor for it, and the deadpan delivery, and he works so well with Owen Wilson and Tom. It's just great. So I haven't seen the
chemistry with everyone.
Is he in it a lot more?
Yeah, he's in every episode. Okay, I think. Yeah, he's in every episode. Well, of the 4 I've seen. And he has like a part in 4 because he has to build something, and then he's like, he has to build it in a very short period of time. So then he's like embarrassed that he only put 1 coat of paint on it. Nice.
I also liked how the show handled like the time displacement and time travel aspect of it. And like that scene in the first episode when Tom is talking to past Ki Kwan, and then present Ki Kwan is like in real time processing it. I just found all that like really, really cool. I don't know. I truly have no idea what's happening on the show, like at all.
Oh yeah, like you don't really need to understand like the time jargon and all that. You just know that there's like a past and a future, really.
I gotta say, I was way out on a lot of the most recent Star Wars stuff. I haven't watched a Star Wars show in a long time, and the Marvel stuff just overall, outside of like Guardians 3, I've been like really down on.
Yeah.
And I really loved Loki when it was first on. I think it was my favorite of like the early stage TV stuff. And so I was like nervous because it's a new creative team and like nothing Marvel has been really great lately. But I was very pleasantly surprised by the first episode. So I'm hoping the rest is good. And you've seen it, so you said it is. So that's good.
Yeah, like it's just very contained. Like it's like the whole scene is just about them like fixing the timeline, I guess is the easiest way you can say it.
Right.
And like so Jonathan Majors in it, he comes in the third episode, or comes back, I guess, in the third. So he's in 3 and 4.
Okay.
And he also has great chemistry with Ki Kwan. So
interesting. I'm excited to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then last email here, and like I said, if you emailed, I got some other emails here from let me see, who did I not do? I'm just gonna say it because Daniel, if you were upset, or David L, I'm sorry. I'll read these, I promise, next week maybe. This one's from Henry, though. Last week we ended the show, Joyce. I said I ran into a fan at Maestro. His name was Henry, and guess what? Henry wrote in. He found us.
We're like sort of pen pals, I guess.
Slugfest at goldderby.com. Henry, thank you. Hi, Chris and Joyce. Thanks for the shout out on the last episode. I've been a big fan of Gold Derby since 2011 when I was in high school, and I've been watching and listening to your Slugfest for years. It was so much fun talking to you, Chris, at the New York premiere of Maestro, and I'm glad that you both of you seem to like the movie. We did. I really enjoyed the screening, and it was fascinating to see what changed from the version of the film I saw, especially the ending. Chris, it's interesting that you didn't connect to the earlier scenes in Maestro, which I said. I thought it excelled where Mank didn't, and the black and white looked gorgeous with seamless and breathtaking transitions, and I felt like I was really watching a film from that era. I wanted to jump into the screen and live in that world. I feel like I've seen people underestimating Maestro, and I'm not sure why. I have it as frontrunners for best actor and best makeup and hair, and I think Carey has a decent shot at winning, although that's a stacked category with Lily Gladstone, Emma Stone, Sandra Huller, and Margot Robbie. I can easily see Maestro getting double-digit nominations, and I would love to see Bradley making it into director, but I'm not sure, since it's likely the nominees will be Nolan, Scorsese, Lanthimos, Gerwig, and Glazer. Love your Oscar playback videos. The 80s will be fun. Your jaws will be on the floor for some of the opening musical numbers. The 89 opening is legendary, but the 86 one is equally as unique. So much fun to see people in the audience like Tom Hanks, Glenn Close, and Dustin Hoffman, truly confused, embarrassed, and shocked to witness such camp. Truly a wild time. Cheers, Henry.
I've seen that one. I've seen like several videos from the 80s, especially.
I haven't seen as many, so I'll go in blind next year when we do those, and I guess we'll do the 80s. We'll go back to the 80s. I kind of agree with Henry about Maestro in terms of Bradley and makeup. I mean, I think the makeup is unbelievable. We talked about that last week, so I definitely could see him winning and makeup winning, and I think it could get double-digit nomination. Like, I think all of its aspects are great, so I could see it getting double digits, but it would have to. I mean, we'd have to get picture the 2 actors is 3.
Yeah, no supporting.
No supporting. Screenplay is 4. Cinematography would be 5. Costumes, production design 6, 7. Sound, editing. What's 10 then? Makeup. That's 10. And I don't think it'll get 10 then, because I think it's tougher to get. I think some of this stuff would be tougher. Production design, I think, is competitive for sure. I don't know if either one of us had it in though.
No, I don't think I did.
Did I have it in? Wouldn't that be funny if we just did this and I don't remember if I had it in?
I have no idea what I said.
I didn't have it in. I have color purple in, and sound. I think it'll definitely get into. I think cinematography it should get in. I think editing is borderline because like when we went over that category, it's tough, but it should get at least 7.
Yeah, which I think is a decent haul for it. Like we said, like it's not really competitive in either supporting category, so it's out for that. Obviously no music.
Right.
So in like the categories it's eligible, like that's great. I mean, obviously it's eligible in supporting, but no. So right. But yeah, I think for that, like win wise, like makeup for sure is the most likely.
I would say makeup and then Bradley are the top 2.
Yeah, I would say that. I don't have him winning yet, but
if I was ranking, I would say makeup, Bradley, and then Carey.
Yeah. So if they both win, it would be the first film to win both leads since As Good as It Gets. I can see Bradley winning without Carey, but can you see Carey winning without Bradley? They're two different categories. I don't think people vote that way. Like, oh, I have to vote for both of them, or I'm not going to vote for him or her because I'm not voting for the other.
So you're saying you could see Bradley winning and Carey not winning?
Yes.
But you can't see Carey winning and Bradley not winning?
No, I didn't say that. I'm just asking you if you think that could happen.
I don't think it can happen. I think they're probably a pair.
So you think it's either him or both of them, but not
I
Carey
think so. I mean, I think it's tough because, like you said, they're two different categories. The fact is, even though Best Actor is very strong and way more competitive than last year, it's still like way less competitive than this year's Best Actress race. And so, like, Bradley does not have as many strong contenders opposite him as Carey does opposite her. The other thing is with actor, I feel like in actress, like when we were talking about this, these are strong movies and strong, like all five of these, for me, all five are Best Picture nominees, right? Like you said, like that's going to be, that doesn't usually happen, right? For certainly. And so in actor, though, I think I would be surprised if Rustin was a Best Picture nominee, and I have Colman Domingo in. I have Jeffrey Wright in for American Fiction, and it's possible that doesn't get in for Best Picture either, even though it won a TIFF, right? Like it's not a guarantee. I mean, nothing's a guarantee, but I don't know. I just think that category is not as strong for Brad compared. So I think Bradley has an easier shot to win than Carey does in her category.
Yeah, I think like competition wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have either of them winning at this point. So, but I guess like because I feel like Carey has gotten more praise, like I mean she's only acting in it, like he's doing other stuff, but I feel like her performance has been more praise. I don't know if that's because she's only an actor in a movie compared to Bradley, that I could see. I think it's the least likely scenario too, but I could see her winning without him. I'm not predicting it, but like there is a world where maybe she just sweeps, or like maybe they just really love that performance and her, and then like I don't know who would he lose to. Like maybe they just really love Oppenheimer or something.
I mean,
don't know.
maybe, right? It's like
So,
I don't know. Joyce, we went on so long here, so we really should wrap it up. Next week we're gonna have so many movies. You're seeing so many movies this week, and then we could also talk about Flower Moon.
it's finally out.
It'll be out that Friday, so we'll probably spend a lot of time talking about. You're seeing Poor Things.
Seeing so many. I'm seeing two things today, which
you're seeing.
I'm seeing your favorite movie, Saltburn, today.
I'm so excited. Saltburn is definitely my favorite movie of the fall run. I love it. Poor Things, you're seeing Rustin probably.
So. Yes, Rustin is later. That's my twofer is Saltburn and Rustin.
And then we'll both see The Killer. So I guess we could talk about that next week a little, because we'll have seen The Killer on Saturday. And then we could talk about all these other movies and Flower Moon. Go a little more in depth on Flower Moon, which I will see probably a third time.
Did we spend 3.5 hours on Flower
this
Moon?
One might be 3.5. What we just did might have been 3.5. Marty is going to be like, what the fuck, guys? Even I'm like,
he's like, you're just binging 7 episodes of TV right now.
Marty's like, get out of it. Turn this shit off. That's Marty right now to this if he's watching. Or Francesca putting up on the iPad for him, maybe. What do you think? Probably not.
The voice filter?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the voice filter. I don't know how any of this stuff works, but
I don't know. I'm not on TikTok.
I don't know. Me neither. This was a great choice. I'm going to look up TikTok and then we'll get to it next week. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.